gloves are coming off.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
We're about to go full court press.
Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
It's time to play ball.
Malone looking for his first hit of the year. He drives one. Deep left field. That goes Upton. Back near the wall. It's out of here. Bartolo has done it. The impossible has happened.
Listen in as we tackle everything in the world of sports right now.
Stay off the weed.
Throw your hat in the ring at 516-572-7440. This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Here we go, everybody. 4:04 p.m. This is WHPC Sports Talk. I am Michael Merlo. Joined by me, I have Joshua Umahi, Matt Leonard, Elijah Blain, and Ross Levine. A very, very busy show that keeps getting busier as every minute goes by.
Oh, yeah.
As we have some breaking news in the NFL. Not some news I thought I'd be breaking here today, but it is pretty crazy. But guys, started a little late today. I don't know why. I don't know who we have to see about that. But not happy about it. But guys, how are we doing today?
Can I just get my own agenda off for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Because, the Calvin Ridley stuff, right? When we're going to get into it. But I remember on this show, I was like, I feel like there's some players that just, because gambling is a whole big thing in this country now, sports betting. I bet you there's some players that just
Maybe there's more.
There's got to be more. There's got to be more.
Let's let everybody know what you're talking about, Josh.
Yes,
Calvin Ridley has been suspended for the 2022 season due to gambling. He left the team, I think, late. It was late October, early November.
It was like week 3, 4, 5.
He left the team. He was, a little mental health issue, so he left the team. And now he's caught. It was early November where he was gambling on games. The NFL did an investigation dating back to last month, and these are their findings. He was gambling on games. He was betting on the Falcons, but there was no insider information given according to the evidence and to the league. He tweeted something out about 5 minutes ago saying, "I bet $1,500 total. I don't have a gambling problem." So
I've said that before.
This is pretty crazy. The NFL statement says the investigation uncovered no evidence indicating any insider information was used on any game that was no game was compromised in any way. So at least the integrity of the game part is still upheld. If that was the case, we'd have a massive, even bigger story on our hands. But thankfully, we do not. This is just Calvin Ridley being an idiot and betting on games when he's not supposed to.
I feel like if Pete Rose wasn't a big enough example to athletes as it is of not to do that, like this guy's been blackballed from the entire sport of baseball.
And he's one of the best to ever play the game.
He is.
Too.
He's the all-time hits leader. Obviously, we know that. And someone that great did this, and all that happened to him. How is it not less than other professional athletes? Don't do this.
I mean, yeah, I understand that, and gambling's obviously a massive part of the sports world now. It's, being legalized in every state as we go through, the months. But it's not like he was gambling on his team. It's not like he was throwing games. And I understand Pete Rose never threw a game. At least that's what we know of. He bet on his team. But listen, it's bad. It's a bad look. It can't happen. He's getting a big-time punishment for it. And I just don't think it's that bad while you're playing. I don't think it's as bad as the Pete Rose thing. It's bad. It's a bad situation.
Bad while you're playing? What do you mean?
I'm saying it's not as bad as if you were playing.
Oh,
I don't think
so if you're not playing, he's away from the team, it's not as bad.
It's still bad. It's still
very
a really bad and almost illegal situation.
Yeah.
Especially if they were throwing games, or especially if any information was divulged to Calvin Ridley that the public did not know about.
It's insider trading, yeah.
Exactly.
I think he just automatically has an edge because he's within that organization. He could text any player
Well, they said there was.
They
said there was no evidence.
There was no evidence,
and they looked into it. They could easily look into that.
It's just the principle of it, really. I mean, if you're under contract with an NFL team, you can't really bet on NFL games.
You can't really. You can't.
You just can't. I mean, I know people are saying, well, the NFL's pushing gambling. They're partnering with FanDuel and DraftKings and stuff like that. But, they're targeting the fans. They're not targeting the players to actually go out and bet on games.
gambling's been around for a very long time. So yes, it's a massive part of our society today. But it's not like it was just invented yesterday.
Yeah.
So you got to have some control. At least from what we know of, thousands of players, played without gambling, and it was here.
My issue is, how much money does Calvin Ridley make that he has to bet on games?
Well, he said he lost $1,500.
And to him, that's what? Like, that's he makes millions of dollars a year.
We're not doing this again.
No, we're not.
In comparison to us.
You know what's crazy about this, and you said it, Mike, gambling's been around forever, especially sports betting, but it feels different from the standpoint of, especially recently, whenever you watch a sports game, whether it's a football game, especially basketball games now, like TNT has a whole FanDuel partnership. They're airing promos like split screen between the game and what you can bet on during the game. Like I just felt like, because players watch this stuff too when they're not playing, when they're not in game. So that's why I always kind of felt like this stuff was inevitable. It happened to somebody.
This temptation is what it is.
I mean, it's just the stupidity of it really gets me. I mean, if I think players are betting on games, I would be like stupid to not think that another player is doing this. But at least they would get someone else to place their bets. I think he did it through his own account, which makes it like
we don't know that. We don't know that. I don't know how they found out. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. So, I mean, if that's going to come out, we'll find out. I think and Craig Carton just tweeted this, actually. He said, he
knows a lot about betting.
Yes. Yeah. He responded to him saying that, just because you only lost $1,500 doesn't mean you have, doesn't matter the amount. You risked $11 million this year because now you're suspended, and that's where it's like maybe you do have a problem. So this is a crazy story. I'm sure it'll develop over the next few days, but there's so much to get to in the NFL that I really just don't want to spend too much time on it. And it is so hot in here. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's heaters going on. It's the degrees is 59. I set it to 59 degrees.
59?
I set it to 59 in here.
It feels like 80.
It feels like 80 in
Well, I
here.
mean, it's like 65 outside.
Well, do I have to go colder?
It doesn't go colder at all?
No, it doesn't go colder, so I don't
Leave
know.
it. It will cool down. Leave it.
It's been on that since we started anyway.
It's like 5 minutes.
Let's pat ourselves on the back.
Yes, let's do
because
that.
we won a big-time award as a station, the best community college radio station in the country, the Intercollegiate Broadcasting System Awards. Absolutely fantastic. A round of applause to us. We had great video conferences with some professionals in this industry over the weekend as well. It was fantastic. Me and Josh were on with Keith McPherson the other day of WFAN and John Boy. It was a good weekend overall, and we won a big award, the big one, the granddaddy of them all.
John Boy?
Yes.
No one told me that was happening.
I did not know. I love it.
Nobody told me about that.
Keith McPherson was supposed to be on Friday with us.
Do you think we can get John Boy as a guest?
I doubt it.
No, it wasn't John Boy. It was just Keith McPherson of John Boy.
Oh!
Okay.
Keith McPherson also on WFAN.
Yeah, of course I know him. Yeah, I thought and John Boy was there. I thought
No, John Boy was not there.
Wait
Keith
a minute.
McPherson was on. So it was a great weekend of conferences, and we won the big award. Me and Matt and I did not win our award.
No, it's not to be nominated.
It's okay. Yes, believe me. If we do baseball, everybody else better watch out.
Oh yeah.
All right, the NFL. There's a lot to get to in the NFL today because you had the Combine, which is, by the way, the most overrated thing on this planet. To even consider the Combine and what they do important is a joke.
I disagree.
I'm sorry.
I love the Combine.
We could debate that in a minute. The only important thing about it is the meetings you have with teams. That's it.
Yeah, your personality, or how you handle New York, and that's, if let's say one of these guys do get drafted from the Jets or the Giants, that's what it means a lot more than if you love obstacle courses, have at it. But
516-572-7440 is the number to join, Jets, Giant fans. What do you want this offseason from your teams? Your drafts. We got high draft picks. So we'll hear from you. Elijah, let's debate this very quickly right now. Me and you can train for a full year to do these types of events that they do.
Yeah.
Run a 40-yard dash. I've trained for some of these, the cone drills, everything else, whatever they do, the long jump, doesn't mean squat. Does not mean anything.
I'd argue the 40-yard dash doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't.
Right. It's just straight line speed.
Yes.
I mean, look at the guys who are really good at it. CJ2K, is the best one who was like really good at it.
We're not
But
talking.
then you
Yeah,
have
How about John Ross? That meant nothing.
We're not talking about
that
it.
means nothing.
We're not talking
yeah,
about it.
I mean, just some drills. It just gives you a sense, like if you like want to see like how a guy ankles bends like up close, then yeah, the combine is like a good way to measure that. I mean, it's just that like they make it an event. You go to Indy, you meet other scouts, you get like a good like profile on how your player you want to pick is, and I think I don't know. I think it's a cool event.
The NFL makes it an event. It makes it bigger than it actually is. Again, I've trained for camps where for college where I was getting looked at some point. When I played football in high school, we do all these drills. We train for these drills, specifically these drills, so we look good doing these drills. So these guys are training specifically for that. To me, it's just okay. It's like a test you've known the answers to your whole time, your whole life, and now you're taking it, and we act like it's important. Sure. Again, I think the meetings are incredibly important. You get to know the player, the person, the people they're involved with. That's a good thing. And the Giants, I saw they were talking with Kayvon Thibodeau, and he had said they really grilled me in there, and during the meeting. That's all great, and the meetings are the most important part of this. And that was that last weekend. But the rumors that come out of it are big too, and a lot of things came out. A lot of stocks were rose, I should say.
Yes.
Ahmad Sauce Gardner.
He is going to be a stud.
Giant, yeah.
He could be a Giant. I think he's going to be a Jet at number 4. That's just me.
Yeah.
I've seen some people say he might be one of the top 3 players in the whole draft.
If you had your pick as a Jets or Giants fan of him or Kayvon Thibodeau, who you take?
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Okay.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
But that's not to say Ahmad Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati University, the cornerback, is not fantastic. He is.
Oh, he's incredible.
And the Jets have a need at corner. They have a need really everywhere. So do the Giants, though. I couldn't stress that enough.
Yeah.
But the Jets at number 4, they're going to have a very interesting decision to make because they have a need at corner. They can use another offensive lineman.
They need a pass rusher.
They can use a pass rusher. Now it's all gonna depend on who falls to them. But Jeff fans, who do you want? 516-572-7440. To me, best player available.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the Jets are going to go either line or D line, just because it seems like Douglas and Saleh both want to build through the trenches, and if that's the case, I think they're going to choose. If Thibodeau does fall to them, that's very possible. Maybe they reach a little bit on an offensive line. You never know, but that's what I would do. Or he goes to the Giants. Like the Jets and Giants picking so close to each other could impact the rest of the draft in a big way, especially given the fact that you look at it. Malik Willis, like he's
about to say that
he's piling up boards with a combine, which is ridiculous, I think. But the fact is that the fact that he's playing well in this combine, that's actually great for the Giants.
Yes,
yeah.
I think the Senior Bowl, just to go back to this very quickly, is much more important than the combine. You're playing a game. You're also doing these workouts before the game all week in front of NFL coaches.
Well, the Giants agreed with that because they picked the Senior Bowl MVP like 3 years in a row.
Yeah, we picked Kyle Lauletta. That
Davis
great.
Webb, stuff like that.
Great job.
The Senior Bowl, Malik Willis also played well in that, or was very impressive in that. And you're right. Malik Willis is rising up draft boards, and that could help the Jets and the Giants. I believe one of them, I think out of the 4 picks the Jets and Giants have in the top 10, one of them will be traded. 100% one of them will be traded. And I actually think it's going to be the Giants.
Yeah.
I think the Giants trade out. They're going to try.
What?
They're going to try and get out for future picks and more picks in this draft. They're going to want to set themselves up for next season where they're, just like this year, where they thought they were going to have to possibly take a quarterback. There's no quarterbacks in this draft. They're going to set themselves up for next year to have multiple firsts so they can take a quarterback if need be in next year's draft. But I think 5 or 7 is gone.
But you got to take an offensive lineman or 2 regardless.
Right.
But the thing is, I think Shane said not too long ago is that they're not going to reach for an offensive lineman when there's just no good offensive lineman available in that position. Like, people are saying Charles Cross, okay, he can be number 5. What if Charles Cross isn't a good fit with this team? Maybe you just want to take one in the 2nd round, 3rd round, because that's what the good teams do. They build depth through those rounds. So
Well, the good teams don't reach on players just because of position. You'll take the best player available.
Yeah.
And I've said that all week. The Giants or the Jets aren't just going to take an offensive lineman because that's what the fans want and that's what everybody says they need. If there's a cornerback, if Ahmad Sauce Gardner's the number one player, if Kyle Hamilton's their number one player at number 5, and they don't have an offer they like to move down, they're going to take him because there's a need and he's the best player available.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think Sauce has a good chance of going number 5. I mean, we're gonna get rid of Bradbury,
right.
So we need another cornerback, and he plays man really well. Has a long wingspan, and with 7, I don't know. I kind of see us moving like from 7 to trade down a little bit. I mean, I think Trayvon Walker is in play, definitely from Georgia. Ojabo, a couple of other guys, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't pick offensive linemen in round 1.
I hope they pick a lineman round 1. They need at least one lineman for sure. I mean, look, they could definitely move down to like wherever Pittsburgh picks. They move up, they get their quarterback for the future. That it makes a sense for a trade down for that team. They need one, and Roethlisberger just retired. But they just, to me, the Giants have to fix this line no matter how they do it. And look, Joe Shane, when he was with Buffalo, was able to get linemen in second rounds, third rounds, and he made it work. So, again, it just shows that you could find good linemen no matter where you pick what round. And I think that's what the Giants are going to do. Whether it results in this team being good this year or not, you want to see what you have in Jones, if he's the guy or not. I'm leaning that he's not the guy, but, you got to give him that 1 year with a good line.
Yeah. I mean, that has to be the goal of this year, right? I mean, if Jones is the guy, you keep him. If not, then you draft a quarterback. That's the goal of this season. You're not going to win much this season, I don't think. But
unless your schedule is like the easiest in football.
It's
one
close
of the easiest,
to that. It's close to
this
that.
year.
I think if Daniel Jones turns out to be the guy and this system works for him, they could win games. That could happen. But if he's not the guy, then figure that out now. Use this year to figure that out and draft a quarterback next year. Set yourself up, like Michael said.
It just, the only thing though is that where let's say you're in love with like the number one core next year, it's going to be Young or
definitely Young.
Young.
It will be Young.
If you're telling me the Giants have a decently easy schedule because they were last place, they're probably not going to be picking in that position to take one.
He'll be the first overall pick if that team needs a quarterback.
Yeah, but the Giants, I don't know if they're going to be the number one pick.
I doubt it.
I don't think they're going to be the number one pick. I think they're going to win more games than people actually think, unless this is a legit. Unless they really gut the roster to a point where we don't even see. We understand they're going to gut the roster to a point, but I think there's going to be some veterans that do end up staying, or some veterans that are signed. But if they go completely young, then yes, this is going to be a 4 or 5 win team. I don't think so. I think they're going to try and give themselves a little bit of a chance while also rebuilding. That's possible. That's what Shane said. But they're going to listen. They're going to be in the market for a quarterback next year, most likely. They don't want to say it right now, and they're not going to publicly say it. But if they do move out of 7, and there is a team that falls in love with one of these quarterbacks in this draft, then they are telling you they are looking for a quarterback next year. They're not sure, and they shouldn't be sure. And they're not picking up Jones's 5th-year option. That's that's not even on the table at this point. So it's pretty simple. You're going to know exactly what this team wants to do if they do trade out of this pick, out of 7. And I think they do. And it's not a bad thing. They should. If they have the right deal, if they can get future picks, if they can get a first-round pick next year, forget about it. If you could parlay all these first-round picks, they traded back last year, got a first-round pick and still held on to one. They have one this year. If they can trade another one, you do it.
Yeah, I just think that you're in a position where if Jones is not a top 10 quarterback, you're going to find another quarterback, I think.
It depends. Right. I agree with you to some level, but, it's tough to say top 10. If he shows you signs, if he shows you things like, if he could put his best year, his best moments in the NFL together over a consistent
but he's gotta be good
15 or
teams.
16 games.
He's got to be good teams. You
Agreed.
can't just beat Washington. That's not the only team you could beat.
No, I agree. And they're going to have to win some games.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't think he's the guy. But I'm not going to write him off completely. No. If you have the right formula with these new coaches and this new front office, and if you somehow rebuild this offensive line and he shows you something, he could be your guy.
Yeah. That's I mean, look, Joe Shane. The fact that he's not going to pick up that option makes me believe that they're going to trade out of it because look, you could say all you want. Dable likes him a little bit. They're going with Jones.
Of course, he's going to say that.
Yeah,
he's the head coach. He has to say he likes the quarterback currently on the roster that they're not getting rid of and can't get rid of.
Well, they're also buying time for their own selves as well. They don't want to, put themselves on the clock, pick a quarterback, and they're wrong. They're both fired. So that's why they're also saying it as well. But and look, maybe they think they can get the most out of Jones. You never know.
Back to the Jets very quickly because I do want to say this, and I was thinking about this on Saturday night. I'm thinking about this Jets team, right? And there's a lot of hope around with the fan base. We don't have Jet fans in here, so I'm not going to offend anybody, but I am going to offend Jet fans right now.
Sorry,
and
Dom.
it feels like there's so much hope around this team, as there should be. You have a young quarterback. You have a general manager that, for the most part, has made smart moves during this rebuild. You have a head coach I think everybody likes. I think he's great.
Yeah, I think he's going to be good.
Now, we felt this way before, and we felt this way before about the Jets. The Jets just feel like it's a revolving cycle.
Yeah.
New head coach, new young quarterback, new regime, getting excited, lots of cap space, bang, failure.
Yeah, but here's what I'll say though. Todd Bowles, were you happy about Todd Bowles?
I wouldn't say I was happy about Todd Bowles.
I mean, are you a lot happy about Robert Saleh than Todd Bowles?
100%. I think Saleh's the most excited you can be about a head coach that they've had.
Yeah, I mean, were you excited when they hired out in Gase?
No, you're right about that. But I'm just saying, it's just a cycle of you get a new coach. And a lot of the times when you get a new coach, there is hope. And the Jets had hope going into that second season with Darnold after he finished. And people thought, Darnold and Gase were going to work. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So there was hope with this Jets team at one point with Darnold and Gase, and it completely fell flat on their face. It just feels like this is a revolving door, a cycle. Just life goes on, and the Jets get excited, the Jet fans get excited. It looks like it's going to be promising, and it's not.
I mean, I think that right now, two things. One, I think they have less of a mountain to climb to be the best in that division because years prior, the Bills are really, really good.
Excuse me?
The Bills are really, really good, but they had to go against the Patriots before. Like during the 2010.
The Patriots are still there.
No, so hang on. I think I know what you're saying. You're saying the Bills now are not the Tom Brady Patriots.
No, they're not the Tom Brady Patriots at all.
Okay,
but it's still a big mountain.
But I don't think Josh Allen's one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen with my own two eyes. So that's number one. Number two, Bill Belichick is still there, and he may have found his next quarterback. So you're saying
Mac Jones is not Tom Brady.
We didn't say that.
I didn't say that. I said his next quarterback.
Yeah.
He could be the answer there. He's not going to be Brady.
Nobody's going to be Tom Brady. Nobody's saying he's going to be Tom Brady. But could he be the next guy? Could he be the next franchise quarterback? Mm-hmm. Sure. I think he's going to be. So your point is you have the Bills, and the Bills are not what the Patriots were. Agree. They're not a dynasty that won 6 Super Bowls or even 3 Super Bowls or a Super Bowl. But you're also saying the Patriots are there for the Bills to deal with, and the Patriots are a problem.
I mean,
and it's not like the Dolphins are something to just,
the
look
Patriots
at.
are definitely a problem, but it's like, well, there's 2 strong teams in that division, but they're not as big as the juggernaut that the Patriots were. So maybe you can get in the mix with those 3 teams if you build.
I don't know. I don't.
It's very tough.
I don't know if you're ever going to be on the level of Josh Allen just because of how talented that guy is.
The Jets are. I think this is the ceiling for the New York Jets. If you're going to talk about this season. 8 wins. That's the ceiling for the New York Jets. This season is 8 wins coming up.
I agree.
I think if they won 8 games,
8
you
and
should
9. I'm saying.
jump for joy.
Like 8.5 wins.
Okay.
8 wins. I have
about 500.
Yeah, around there.
Ross, if they won 8 games in the AFC, they should do a dance this year. They should thank every god they pray to.
Okay, so 7 wins. That's my point is
no, I understand your point. 8 wins would be a lot.
Yeah, no, but again, the Jets were, what place were they in? Last place? right?
Yes.
So they're going to have probably a weaker schedule, a little bit weaker than they have the last couple of years.
I'll take a look now.
So, I mean, that's my point. Like, they could get some wins. You have to think they're going to win at least a game. Because they were 0-6. They've been 0-6.
They're not going to go winless. No way.
No, like, I mean, in the division, like, they might win one game.
They might beat the Dolphins.
They'll beat
here
the
and
Dolphins.
there.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't be surprised.
The Bills are
going to
sweep them easy.
Yeah, that's easy. And look, you got to think too with the money that the Jets going to have, and the caps and the draft picks that they're going to have. They might be if they do this properly, they could surprise like a little bit. Salah's pretty good.
I think they need to build a defensive identity. You can't match the offense that Josh Allen has. That
Are you ready?
Bill Belichick teams have.
At Cleveland, at Green Bay, at Miami, at Minnesota, at New England, versus home for Buffalo. There's a lot of ats there.
Well, that's division.
A lot of games on the
Versus
road.
Miami. Obviously, you have the two versus your division teams. They play Baltimore, so they play the AFC North. Baltimore, Cincinnati.
All right, well, maybe 5 wins then. I'll take that back.
Denver.
I shut up about that.
Denver will
be
have
good
Aaron
if they get a quarterback.
Rodgers.
No.
No, that's a loss. If you're playing Aaron Rodgers, it's a loss.
Trevor Lawrence.
That's a win.
They're playing Aaron Rodgers one way or another. They're playing Green Bay and Denver.
Yeah.
So they're playing Aaron Rodgers one time.
In Seattle, you're playing Russell Wilson,
I
most
didn't know that.
likely, if he doesn't get traded. That's a tough schedule. Listen, I know I'm not here to crap on the Jets' life. I'm not.
No,
I don't
you're
want
saying
to.
facts.
I'm trying to, and this gets into my next question: how aggressive is this team going to be? Are they going to be aggressive this year? Are they going to go out and make a ton of moves?
Well,
Russ, I don't think they do. I think they'll make some moves.
They're going to try to get a tight end. I think that's part.
Yes.
Even if it's not Schultz, I know the Jets want Schultz, rightfully so. He's very good.
But he's going to get tagged.
Do you think Broncos to New York?
No. No chance.
I think, I think they can get Gerald Everett, Mike Gesicki, like something like that.
I don't think Gesicki's going to hit the market either.
Yeah.
Because they're tagging these free agents. They're tagging these tight ends.
If we're talking about trade market, Njoku was just tagged by the Browns. I see him getting traded.
He could get traded, but the tag is so low.
Yeah.
You could just... I don't know what the number is, but apparently it's so low, these teams are like, why the hell not? Just tag him. Schultz is going to get tagged.
But
we only get one.
But don't you also think, too, that...
Right? You only get one franchise tag?
I guess so, but who else are they tagging?
No, I think
The
you
Cowboys?
get 2.
Yeah.
You get 2 or 1?
I think you get 2.
I'm not... I hate the franchise tag.
I think it's the
don't know
dumbest
what
rule
it
in
is.
sports, but
Yeah.
it's just... I'm not clear if you get 1 or 2. Because the Cowboys, I'm trying to think... Amari Cooper's going to go.
He's gone.
I would like to see him on the Jets, too. Think about it.
On Friday, I called him to the Patriots, but I told you before we started the show. Now that Calvin Ridley is not an option, I see a Cooper going to the Jets potentially.
The Jets, from 2 standpoints, they need to be aggressive. One, Robert Saleh is a defensive guy, but his defense really, really struggled last season. Now,
badly, yeah.
Yeah. The narrative is, though, that, it was all young players on the roster. And
guys got hurt early in the year,
Exactly.
too.
So he didn't have the right personnel to kind of show what he can do on that side of the ball as the head coach. So they definitely need to spend there. And offensively, I mean, rookie year, quarterback, first year, it's fine. I think Zach Wilson did okay under those circumstances.
At the end of the year, he was good.
Yeah, he definitely made strides the last 5-6 games of the season.
Yeah, no interceptions in the last 5 games.
Yeah, but you really need to see what he can do this season.
You got to fix the defense.
Absolutely.
You got to fix an offensive line. He needs a weapon or two so you can see what he's got. You have Elijah Moore. I like Elijah Moore. Mm-hmm. I just don't think Amari Cooper is going to be the price tag that's going to come with him. I don't know if it's going to be worth it. Because, again, you have Corey Davis, who's not a number 1 coming off an injury. Like I said, Elijah Moore is a fine wide receiver, a young guy. I believe you need one more.
Yeah.
But is it worth a price tag that Cooper's going to come with? And Ridley, I would have liked to see Ridley here, depending on what you would have had to given up. He was only going to make $11 million this year, so you can live with that.
Well,
but what would you have to give up for him? Obviously, that's not on the table anymore.
You could take a wide receiver, too, in the draft in the second round. That's possible.
There's some good receivers in this draft.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are going to fall into that second round.
Yeah.
And also, This is what I think. They're also not going to just draft a receiver for now, but they're probably they might cut Corey Davis after this.
You think so?
Yeah, because I don't think it's that big of a cap hit. I really don't. I think you could save some money.
It was a 3 years, $40 million they signed him for.
You can cut him after 2.
He was their wide receiver 1, right?
Yeah, big mistake.
Yeah, he's
That's
not.
sad.
That's not the role.
Yeah.
Elijah Moore has to be the wide receiver 1 going into the year, unless you get a guy like Cooper.
Isn't he a slot guy though?
Yeah, he's more of a slot guy. Which
And
is
they have
why-
Barrios.
Yeah, and
I'm not saying in terms of where he plays in the field. I'm saying in terms of how much he gets the ball.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Like,
Yeah.
who was it? Was it Ocho Cinco that said if you feed him like Cooper Kupp, you're getting similar results? I don't believe in that, but I believe if you feed the guy, he's got talent.
Yeah.
But you don't need top number 1 superstar receivers
Absolutely
in this
not.
offense. You really don't. You've seen the Shanahan schemes. You could win with average running backs, average receivers if you just have a good line.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just think a guy like Amari Cooper, again, I have to look at the
He would be
wide
good.
receiver free agents. I think he'd be perfect for the Jets because you can put him on the outside.
I agree.
You free up Elijah Moore and Barrios to run in the slot. It makes life easier for Zach Wilson that way.
Josh, the Giants went out and spent a ton of money on a wide receiver this offseason, right?
Yep, they definitely did.
And it did nothing for them because they don't have an offensive line and they don't have much built.
Yeah.
Well, Cooper is better than Galladay, though.
Hold on.
He is.
Hold on.
He is.
It's an analogy. The Jets shouldn't rush to go get this number 1 receiver or a guy that you think could be a number 1 receiver and pay him all this money to now have nothing else built on this team. And a lot of money is going toward that. Probably $20 million of your cap space is going to go to this wide receiver. You're not close. If the Jets were close, if the Jets had everything, I would say, okay, go get him. If you had the money, go and get Amari Cooper. But again, you're not close, and you have money. They do have money, but you're not close.
You gotta build it.
You gotta build everything out.
Build it the right way, and look, the Jets. I think they're doing that. I think. Look, I said this when Sal first got here as the head coach. The first 2 years were going to be rough.
Right.
The next 3, the year 4, year 3, further along will be better for him.
Let him build this.
Yeah, 2 years. That's going to be rough. Again, not a lot of talent here, but I think you're going to see him and the Jets be better in year 3, year 4, and beyond.
So do I. But Ross, their defense was abysmal last year. They have to fix this defense.
Yeah, but
starting this year.
But even if you let's say draft all defense, let's say you're
Right.
still going to struggle a little bit.
Of course, especially with the opponents I just named, and a couple of them are going to look to upgrade quarterback. They already have great rosters. It's going to be difficult. Very quickly, I did want to save time for this, but really don't. The Giants, we know who they're cutting and who they're going to get rid of, but that'll be more talked about when it actually happens. But Aaron Rodgers' decision should be coming soon. Should be coming any day now at this point. They thought before March 8th. It's March 7th. So I hope
Could be today.
I hope it's soon.
Could be today.
I think he's saying. He's probably saying. Yeah.
So on Saturday night, as I was driving, delivering pizza, I got an update from Ian Rappaport, which said that he is seriously mulling, whether or not to leave Green Bay or stay in Green Bay.
Why is that an update? That's been this whole 2 years.
People didn't know if he was considering retirement or what he was doing.
So now the only options are staying or leaving, no retirement.
No retirement. And also, people thought this was a done deal that he was going back, but he is seriously considering leaving. And this is my thing to Aaron Rodgers. This is my one thing.
If you're listening, Aaron.
If you're listening, Aaron, I know what's going on in your brain, and I think I know your answer. You have a conference that just lost Tom Brady that's not that elite anymore in the NFC. You have a division that is an absolute cakewalk. You have a very good relationship with your head coach, Matt LaFleur. And you've patched your relationships up and are pretty good with the front office now.
Yeah, I mean,
why isn't he staying? Why isn't the contract extension for the highest paid player, average annual value? Why isn't it done yet?
Yeah, but I think he's looking at okay, I know I'm going to make the plus every single season. I'm going to go win 13 games, whatever. How many games he was in?
He won 13, 14 last year.
So he probably feels like I'm not. What's the point of keep going through this?
That's exactly it. If he's seriously thinking about this, if the contract's not signed yet, he realizes, I don't even know if Adams is coming back. I don't know if Devontae's coming back. And I can move on to a more talented roster, yes, in the AFC, in a much harder conference, but I can move on to a talented roster with Pittsburgh. Or I can go to Denver. more talented roster. I think he's leaving. I think he's leaving.
Really?
It would have been done. And I've completely changed my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I was on the side of the last few weeks of he's either going back or retiring. I think he's done. I think he's out.
I mean, if he signs with Green Bay, they can't sign Devontae. So maybe there's some, maybe he might leave just because of that.
I also don't think Devontae's a package deal with him.
It's not. It's too much money.
It's too much money.
No.
And people have said this before. Oh, wherever he goes, Devontae's going. No, that's not happening. I don't even think it happens in Green Bay.
But
in Denver, I'm sorry, or Green Bay.
Who would be number one wide receiver if Devontae doesn't return?
Oh, yuck.
Well, they would have to get somebody.
You're going to have to make a move.
Then you're left with what? Alan Lazard,
Yeah.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Equanimeous St. Brown.
Yeah, not great.
Can Denver afford it? I mean, I remember seeing this a couple weeks ago. Can Denver afford both of them?
Nobody can.
If they got rid of Judy, because I think in the trade, Judy would probably go over to Green Bay.
It's going to be a trade because he can just leave.
No, he can't leave. It's got to be a trade.
I thought part of his contract, they worked it out, they can leave.
He's got to be a trade.
Okay, I like this better now.
They said that they had said that they will, grant him any request, whatever he wants. So he has to be traded. So we're going to see. Also, very quickly, do you have anything more to say about it? You're just kind of nervous and depressed?
Yeah. That summed it up.
I mean, hopefully we get the answer soon. I do want to move on because
I can't wait till that show where it happens and I get to come on here whether happy or really ripping everybody.
Yeah. Listen, if you get a nice return, I mean, you're not going to find out. You're going to have all right, I want to be traded, and then it's going to be the trade rumor. So it's not just going to be, he gets traded. It's not going to come out that he wants to be traded and the trade happens. You're going to have to deal with that for a little bit. So that is going to be
What if they get a young quarterback somehow in the trade?
They have Jordan Love.
I don't like him.
Well
they're stuck
deal
with
with that.
But you would want Drew Lock.
Their head coach.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Their head coach likes him, so.
How is it going to look if they just cut bait with Jordan Love when that draft pick is the reason for all of this?
Yeah, I
they're
mean,
stuck
I
with
wouldn't be surprised if they just select a quarterback in the draft.
They like Love. No, they like Love.
They like
mean,
him.
They like Love.
They
a lot.
do. I hate it.
I mean,
I
I don't.
Well,
yeah.
Well, he
You don't
played
work for
one
the Packers.
NFL game. One
Yeah.
NFL start. I hate
There's
it.
nothing to.
I know. That's why I'm saying I'm not that. I'm not that stressed.
I
about
actually happen to think it's going to work. I think
With
Jordan
Jordan
Love's
Love?
going to be the quarterback for a very long time in Green Bay.
Okay.
I'm not being sarcastic. I think LaFleur is just a smart guy, knows what he's doing on offense.
I think
He'll
Jordan
figure
Love was just nervous, and he was playing the Kansas City Chiefs when he started. So I'm sure that got to him.
In Arrowhead, I think.
In Arrowhead.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on,
It's
that's
not a
tough.
nice place to
You
play
can't-
in your first
Also,
start.
if we judged all these quarterbacks by their first game ever in the NFL, come on.
Brett Favre's first throw was a pick six.
Exactly.
And
So
Sam
is Sam
Darnold,
Darnold's. Did you know that Robert Kraft is getting married?
Yes,
He's marrying his girlfriend of, I think, a year and a half, Dana Blumberg. Now, Robert Kraft obviously is the owner of the New England Patriots.
The last thing another Patriot needs is another ring. I'm
Another
sorry.
ring. Well, Dana Blumberg, who is a world-renowned eye doctor, is 47 years old.
How old is Kraft?
80.
Yeah.
Well,
33-year difference.
Ew.
So,
Ew.
this is a good example of, when you're in a relationship, you want your new woman to look past your past decisions, right? I think this is very big of her, yeah.
This is very interesting, and we'll keep an eye on it.
This is
more.
big, his wallet. That's why this is,
Right. Well, yeah.
his checkbook. That's the reason for this.
I definitely want to keep an eye on this story, though. The wedding should be interesting. And I mean, listen, she's not that terrible looking.
Do you think Brady goes to the wedding?
Oh my God, yes, they're best
Really?
friends.
Yeah.
After all the drama with not including them in the retirement post, think Brady goes?
Oh, maybe he
Right?
would invite him.
Right? Yeah. With
I don't
Brady
know.
invited.
Brady was more like friendly with Kraft.
No,
than
but Kraft
Belichick.
I forgot about that. Kraft was very mad that he was left. The
okay.
Patriots were left out of the retirement post.
Robert Kraft got to beat that massage parlor.
Allegation.
That's what I asked Mike before. I'm like, is this the massage parlor girl?
We got to move on. We got to move on. Some NBA
Please.
and some baseball to talk about. You are listening to WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I am Michael Merlo, along with Joshua Umahi, Matt Leonard, Elijah Blain, and Ross Levine. Radio Rumble, Saturday noon.
Yeah, Justin.
With Justin Greenberg, with a vast knowledge of pop culture and unique sense of humor, host Justin Greenberg, BS, brings you a show unlike any other, playing everything from classic rock from the 1950s all the way to today's superstars. I'm just kidding. Justin's great.
Justin's
and this
hilarious.
show
He's a
is
genius.
a fantastic show. So make sure that's Saturdays at noon. Make sure you tune in Radio Rumble. Okay. The Brooklyn. We're starting with the Brooklyn Nets because you know what? They're more entertaining right now. They played a very entertaining game last night, yesterday afternoon, against the Boston Celtics in Boston. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Was this the first time all year, both of them?
No.
Earlier in the year, I think they played.
Yeah. No.
Ow.
Earlier in the year, Kyrie didn't play.
Kyrie didn't play.
Oh,
was a
so maybe it's
game-
their first
This
time.
can't be the first time both played. This
No,
can't be.
it wasn't. There was a
No.
game upon Kyrie's return in Indy. I think all three of them.
Yeah,
You're right.
yes.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was his fourth game together then this year. I think it was their
Not
fourth
a lot,
game
yeah.
together this year that they played. The Celtics are 21-6 since January 6th.
Good for
They have
them.
completely turned around their season. Jason Tatum averaging 26.5 points. He scored 54 in the game yesterday for the Celtics, and they did beat the Brooklyn Nets 126-120. Kevin Durant was fantastic as usual. He scored 37 points. Listen, the Brooklyn Nets now sit at 32-33. I never thought we'd be saying this. They are the 9th seed, and they're 5.5 games back of the 6th seed. And
Six.
And the playing game, if it didn't feel real, it feels real now with less than 20 games to go. It's going to be an uphill battle for them to move into that spot and try and get it from Cleveland, who isn't playing as great, but it's not like the Nets are winning games.
Jared Allen just went down, too.
And Jared Allen went down. So
Uphill battle is an understatement now because I saw a stat after this game. There's never been a team, because we're 65 games into the season now, never been a team this late in the season under 500 that's won a ring. And it goes back to everything we've been talking about. There's very little continuity. Kyrie is very sometimey. I think this was his third game in a month. So you have that. They started booing him on every touch. The Celtics fans did, and he completely checked out.
You hear what he said?
Yeah, but the quote.
Something about about him
Ex-girlfriend?
being the
Yeah.
ex-girlfriend, where it's like, you want an explanation as to why I left, you don't welcome me back or whatever. I'm like, what? What are you saying?
Well, no, it's a lot more simple than that. It's you left. You told Celtics fans
I'd be back.
completely unprovoked, I'll be back. I'm
Yeah,
re-signing.
no one asked you that question. You just said it.
Yeah, and then the weird media trolling throughout the season. You ultimately go to Brooklyn.
He's crazy,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, come on. What do you expect? You're going to get booed every single time you go there. It's Boston.
that was
Was it you that asked me Friday what's going to happen to Kyrie after he retires? Is he going to go on a boat and sail off the earth?
Oh no, I asked that.
Sail
I was
off
here
the
on
earth.
Thursday. Okay.
Yeah.
He's going to go on a boat and just sail off the earth.
Yeah, I mean, Kyrie, he's just undependable at this point. I don't see. You have to play the play-in game, and then you're going to have to go in against a high seed. So let's say the Sixers or the Bulls or another
Good
team
luck.
that's very high-seeded, and you have Kyrie for like half of the time. I mean, it's just...
You have
there's
more
gonna be-
majority, at least, if you're the away team.
Is it majority?
If you're the away team, you have before 7 games. If
Yeah,
it goes
sure.
7. Yeah.
look, obviously, like you said, it's Boston. He's going to get bombarded. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it was great. His comments after the game were also funny. He said, they're like a scorned girlfriend that wants an explanation, but waiting for but still hoping for a text back.
That's what it was.
That's what he says it is. Listen, he's a weird cat. We know that. Was he even asked about stomping on the logo last year? Was he even asked about that? Probably
I
not.
forgot about that.
I don't think he was. So those fans have a legitimate beef with him.
Yeah.
And I thought he handled it fine. I don't have an issue with the way he handled it, but I do have an issue with the way the Nets are playing. This isn't good enough. And I feel like the roster is fine. I mean, they have some good players on this roster. Goran Dragic, who I completely forgot about until I turned the game on yesterday. Seth Curry, Andre Drummond. I mean, he's been great. He's been looking good for them. He's something they needed. And I said it when they made the trade. They do need a big man like that. Aldridge is on this team. He's not playing terrible. They have guys.
It's just a matter of, one, are they all going to be together at the same time? And if they are, again, we're 65 games in. Are you going to have enough time to get them all acclimated? Because the playoffs are, what, month and a half away?
Yep.
Sure.
We're coming right up on it.
It's about, and there's no continuity.
No.
Injuries, again, Kyrie not playing. They need to get everybody on the same page. And listen, again, they just added Goran Dragic, so it's a pretty new team. They just added Drummond. They just added Seth Curry. And we're not even talking about the fact that Ben Simmons isn't playing on this team. Ben Simmons will not make an appearance in the game, but he will take the trip to Philadelphia with the Nets. He's going to be on the bench over there, so that's a big step for him. But, this is a big-time player they got in this trade. There's a lot of question marks around him, but they haven't gotten their big acquisition back from trading Harden. So, again, it's a question mark, but we're going to have to see how that works out. And, is that going to make an instant impact? I think if Durant and Kyrie are playing every game,
right,
this is a very good team, obviously, with the roster they have.
Much better than any other playing team.
Exactly. So they can make a run if they do. It's different. I know you said no team at this point. No team under 500
through 65 games. Well, this late in the season, yeah.
Right. They're a different breed because they have Kevin Durant and they do have Kyrie Irving. And if they could get them healthy and if they can get them on the floor at the same time, I put them up there with anybody in the Eastern Conference. But it's going to be tough. The Eastern Conference is very, very good this year.
I have a question about the play-in.
Sure.
The 7 plays the 10, the 8 plays the 9?
7 plays the 8, 9 plays the 10.
Oh.
The 9 and 10 have to win 2 games, right?
Oh, right. Okay, so right now the Nets would be at home against the Hawks, so Kyrie wouldn't play.
Okay.
And
as it stands now.
Say they go up to the 8th seed and they have to play Toronto.
They
have a whole thing there, too. So.
Yeah.
Not looking good.
Not looking too good.
I mean, if you have Durant, again, I like your chances.
If Simmons is back and he's playing at least half of what he was before when he was at his peak, I'll take it.
You're going to have to.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting Ben Simmons was this very good player.
He was amazing before he got weird.
I wouldn't say
and it wasn't even.
He was solid, though.
But it was even last season in the regular year. In the regular year, he was good.
He had his probably best season last year, which gets lost in the shuffle because of how the season ended.
His postseason was terrible.
Completely lost in that. Completely lost it. This was a good, solid player, all-star level player last year.
Defensive Player of the Year candidate all the time.
So this is going to be. Listen, it's going to be huge if they do get him back. Hopefully they do. Very quickly, the Knicks did go to LA last night and beat the Clippers.
Why?
Beat down on them pretty badly.
I want them to lose every game. I don't want them to win a game.
I live bet the Clippers at half.
I
down
knew
19.
somebody would.
Well, given the history we've seen, you were right to do that.
They were up, 13, 17, something like that?
Put $4 on it at 70 cents.
What was the game we blew the biggest lead ever?
That was the Heat, right?
I think it was Miami this season, yeah.
The Knicks blowing that lead.
There was the Nets game, too.
Yeah, I think it was the Nets.
There were 3 of them in a month. Remember
the
that?
Nets game was the worst one, I think.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
I mean, honestly, that Phoenix game, I try to defend Tom a lot.
Yeah.
You can't defend him when you consistently blow big leads.
Yeah.
You can't. I'm tired of it. Now, again, he shut me up because he played young guys the last couple of games. But still, I think they're going to move on. That's just me.
The Phoenix game was interesting too because there was a sequence. The bench was in. Cam Reddish put them, I believe, up double digits. He had a nice layup. Boom, go on the bench. We're bringing Evan Fournier back in to close the deal because that makes sense for what we've seen this season. And last night, I mean, again, it's too little, too late. We've been screaming, play the young guys all season long.
Well,
and
their season's over. That's what you're doing.
So you're finally getting Jericho Sims plus 15 last night. Deuce McBride finally got minutes. We've stopped playing Alec Burks, a player who is not a point guard, out of position. You put a player who is actually a point guard in the rotation. He was a plus 27.
And what did you think of Tibbs's comments after the game? He was asked about that little lineup they had of Cam, RJ quickly, McBride, and Jericho Sims. And defensively, I mean, they didn't give up many points when they were all on the floor together, if any. And Tibbs was asked about that, and he was very complimentary of them. Maybe he'll start to do that more.
Yeah, I was just gonna say No, you go first. You go first, actually.
What I made of him saying that yesterday, because he's a very stubborn guy. We know this.
Yeah.
We've seen it in 3 stops now.
Yeah.
There has to have been somebody, maybe it was William Wesley, who's not the biggest Tibbs guy.
He probably told him to play young kids.
Yeah, got in his ear look, the season's over.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anywhere playing the vets that we signed. Yes, we get it. They might not have been great signings. We probably told you to keep pushing them out there to improve their trade value, but the trade deadline's gone. So you got to play these young guys. We got to see what they can do leading into the offseason.
The thing I want to see mostly as the season goes by and in the offseason for sure, just get Randall off this team. I've seen enough from Randall to know. Like
terrible last night.
And also that time where he got thrown out of the game against Phoenix, that to me was it for him. I don't really care what he does the rest of the season.
Was he fined for that?
Yeah, and rightfully so. Rightfully
50,000.
so.
Yeah, wow, that's a nice size fine.
Big fine.
Right. Well, nobody's really on his side. I don't blame anybody who isn't on his side.
I mean, Randall stands. I'm
He's gonna
just
be great elsewhere. I know it for a fact.
He's gonna go somewhere else. Just too many Knicks fans were just excusing Randall's like performance body language throughout the season. I get it once it's like earlier in the year when you know he can fix it, but once it's in the middle of the year, you gotta. It's a pattern, you know.
What I'll say to them, the Randall stands, is the funniest stat from last night.
Explain what stands means. Because I know what it means, but a lot of people don't know.
Stands is, I mean, how would you classify it? Like,
People that back somebody no matter what.
Fan.
Yeah,
Super fans.
They back you no matter
stalker
what.
fans,
Yeah.
So just a lot of like celebrity stands out there.
Yeah.
I personally am a Kanye stan, but we're not going to go there.
No, we're not.
No, definitely not. But the funniest stat from last night's game, Knicks led by 30 at the fourth quarter. Randall was a -2 in a game that they led by 30. RJ Barrett, on the other hand, plus 36.
Oh,
yeah,
my God. Randall's plus minus the best part of the year, man.
This is the funniest running joke in.
Just build around RJ Barrett. Don't even try to build around Julius Randle. I mean, look, I understand what people are going to say, right? Like, okay, let's say the Knicks, because if you trade him and you're playing all these young guys, you're going to lose a lot of games. And if you, let's say, lost a game by 7, let's say, and all those young guys are playing, it's like, hey, if we had Julius Randle, maybe we win. It doesn't work that way. Right. I mean, let's be honest. We've seen that movie before. Let Julius Randle go back to being a regular basketball player on another team that nobody cares about, and the Knicks can just move forward with their team.
It also feels like Julius realizes what's going on here, and looking at RJ and the way he's playing and almost giving it up. And I heard Mike Breen kind of talking about this last night. He should do that. He should defer to RJ.
That's absolutely what he's doing, but at the same time, we've seen his play style is really not suited to be
number 2,
a number 2 option, an off-ball option.
But he's not a number 1.
Exactly.
So if that's the case, then you guys don't have to worry about him going somewhere else and being this, big time superstar. You just don't.
You know what? Speaking of what you just said, people from the Knicks going elsewhere and being superstars. You guys see the game Porzingis had last night?
He played?
Yeah, but
he played last night, made his Wizards debut.
That's different, though. I mean,
21 minutes, 7 of 12 shooting, 3 of 4 from 3, and he had 25 points.
But the one thing I'll say about that, though, is you can't control that he went to Washington.
He led them in scoring.
Yeah, but in Washington, and Washington's still not great. On top of it, Knicks traded him to Dallas. Their return is okay. It's pretty good. And I don't think Porzingis is going to stay on the team. So I don't really... you can't really blame that on the Knicks that he went to the Wizards.
It's like a couple of degrees of separation at this point. If he made it work in Dallas, and I'd be like, oh, we traded a really good player. But he couldn't make it work in Dallas, and now he's with Washington Wizards. And I don't want to say it's empty points, but like...
It means nothing.
It means nothing when you're like with the Wizards, because you're still going to lose either way.
Well, empty stats are no empty stats. I mean, the thing with Porzingis is really... maybe to a lesser degree, about his play on the court. He'll have a few good games and then he'll miss 2 weeks.
Yep.
Then he'll come back, play 5 great games, miss 4 weeks. So that's the issue with him.
Yeah.
And Dallas is playing great since he left too.
Yeah.
That's another subplot to this season. Like, they got Dinwiddie back in the deal. They got Luka Doncic. He's the sole. Well, Porzingis was never a superstar, but he's the sole star now. He's completely taken over.
Yeah.
And the role players they have now are really feeding off that pretty well.
Also, like, just going back to the Knicks for a second, the other guy that I hope they move him. I don't care what he is from downtown. Move Evan Fournier out. I don't want to watch that guy.
It's going to be hard to. I think he's getting paid a lot of money. But
trade for a second. I don't care. Just
we know he's making a lot of money. It's going to be difficult to, get rid of that contract. But I don't know if it's immovable. I don't know.
I think it's movable.
I think it's movable too.
Yeah, I don't think it's like impossible. Like, now look, he signed for 4 years. It's kind of like 3 in a way. I mean, if you look at like the Randall contract, I mean, like when they first signed him it was 3. It's really 2. You can get out of it. It's fine. Look, if he's really good next year, maybe you could trade him at the deadline. I just don't want him on the team. He doesn't fit.
The funny thing with the Knicks, too, I mean, we've talked about them all season, and it's mostly been doom and gloom, but say, we don't know if all of these things will happen, but say Randall is gone, we find a way to unload him.
Yeah.
Tibbs is fired. Fournier's contract is moved off of. Like, things would immediately look up because you have all this young talent. We're not in the same position as the Lakers are, who are a joke.
Yeah.
We have draft capital. We have, we would have cap space moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's still time to turn the ship around. It's just like
Well, what ship around?
the sinking one, I guess. But,
Well,
yeah,
good luck with the Knicks.
yeah, with the
No
Knicks.
way. Good luck.
It's over.
It's
this
done.
year.
No, not this year, but like in the future, this rebuild.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, do you even count this as another rebuild if you do it?
if
We're
you're-
not winning,
well,
so I guess it is.
If
Yeah.
you're trading Randall and you're trading these vets, you are rebuilding.
Yeah.
You are.
Can I give a final thought before we wrap up?
Yeah, sure. We got not even on 10 seconds. Go.
Okay, LeBron James, as bad as the Lakers are and as terrible as that team has been this year, deserves MVP consideration. Maybe not winning, consideration.
There's so many guys that we could put up for MVP. I think Tatum has entered the conversation.
You think you
What do
slick.
you
You're gonna say
mean?
at the final minute when I can't come back at you.
I wanted to get to it. We'll get to it tomorrow then. I wanted to get to it. We didn't have time.
whatever.
Definitely
Sorry.
tomorrow, but I mean, he's not going to win it. But I mean,
Did you see that game against the Warriors?
the
You're kidding
season
me?
he's
That was
having
insane.
is unbelievable.
Yes.
100%. Baseball, by the way, you weren't mentioned because you're about to be out of sight, out of mind if you don't figure your bleep out.
Irrelevant.
Thanks for listening to WHPC Sports Talk for Michael. Oh, I should say my name first. For Joshua Umahi, Matt Leonard, Elijah Blain, and Ross Levine. I am Michael Merlo here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.